What stood out to you most about playing with Kobe?
You go to Los Angeles and you see Kobe. He signs for $133, $134 million. And the second he signed the contract, he turned to the right, like, hey, motherfucker, let's black out. That was his workouts. That they call blackouts. And I was just like, okay, dope. Like, when we doing that? He's like, tomorrow, 7 a.m., black the fuck out. Like, we about to black out. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, damn. I was like, that's different.
Hey man, welcome to Iman Amongst Men. I'm Iman Shumpert here with my big brother Ahrii Shumpert. Ahrii gonna say what up to the people.
What's going on, people? Welcome back. Happy to be back.
Happy to be back.
Happy to be back, man.
Man, said it like we've been gone a year.
We have.
Have not.
Yeah, we have. But what's going on, y'all? Today in the studio, we got assistant coach for the Miami Heat. Oof. The NBA track record is very long. You played for the Bucks, the Wizards, Clippers, Sacramento, Detroit.
Got it in.
Man. I don't even know if I got everybody. In the Mavs, too. You won a championship with the Mavs, man. We got Caron Butler in today, man.
Yeah, man.
Say what's up, man.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's happening? The theme of today's show is overcoming adversity. We speak on adversity hitting, and it can do a couple of different things. Adversity can, it can make people tuck tail. It can also shape you for, what's ahead of you, shape you for what's to come. And I don't think we could have a better representative for that than having you on the show today. When you think of overcoming adversity, like, what's the first thing that jumps to you?
I think just in embracing the challenge of whatever it is. For me personally, in my journey and in my story, I think about the way that I grew up, and just like a lot of black men, brown men here in America growing up today, where you're dealing with adversity as far as like just challenges, whether it's being consistent in school, whether it's filling the void of a lack of having a mentor, whether it's, being rejected from an opportunity or a position, whether it's being told that, your dreams are too big, being in an environment where, the opportunities are just, limited and everybody's fighting, over, that one opportunity that exists. So I think about all those things, and I think about just how I had to overcome them. One, I had to develop, a real deep confidence within myself, something that burnt inside that nobody else felt, no one else, could understand. And I had to just, find ways to keep myself interested in whatever I was attacking.
What do you mean by find ways to make it?
I think, sometimes you get bored, when you put your eye on objective, and then, you're trying to get that goal, and you can get bored with trying to accomplish that goal because we're so used to microwavable success now in today's society.
Hey, I know you a coach now, dog.
No, it's real.
Microwavable success is crazy.
Yeah, you want that overnight shit.
Bar.
For real. But it's like you have to have your eye on like the journey.
Yeah.
And just like constantly be consistent with the checkpoints of the journey.
Yeah, you got to be in love with the work.
100%.
Is that something you develop, or is that something you got to like create within yourself?
Well, it's the one-offs in the world. It's the, the 5%, tile that just have it. You know what I mean? They just have it. Whatever it is, they have it already.
Right.
But then there's certain people that's, wired a little differently that you have to develop that skill. But I think once you develop it by going through adversity, you're different forever from it. And you're always chasing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, see my man on Dancing with the Stars, won the championship. Like, he's addicted to success. Like, that journey and that oh shit, he can't do that.
Yeah,
Like, watch
that
this. I'm gonna
challenge.
show. Like, it's a challenge that during the process, it's like you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm going to accomplish this shit because I've been here before. This feeling, not probably this particular journey, but just the feeling of, all right, can I conquer it? This is my moment. You know what I mean? That shit is addictive.
Real tough.
I
like that shit too. We're gonna do that shit with the podcast too. I'm gonna make sure, man, if y'all got a podcast championship ring, my shit gonna be shiny as fuck.
Who were your early influences, like male influences?
You know
growing
what?
up?
I would have to say, like, people that I didn't know, right? Like, the ones that I had, like my uncles, who was all like part of that recycled behavior, like going to the penitentiary, getting out, repeating that shit, dudes in the neighborhood. That's what I saw. I didn't look up to those dudes, but that's what I saw. But the dudes that I looked up to was, you know, the cats that was on television the most, you know, whether it was Diddy, whether it was Ho, whether it was P, like dudes that look like me that come from similar backgrounds in my story. Like, I wanted to be like those dudes. You know what I mean? I just didn't have the recipe on how to do it, but I was like mimicking them from afar.
How early were you trying to mimic them?
Yeah, I mean, as far as hip hop came into the crib as early as I was 6, 7. So I was already trying to mimic them, you know, through the lyrics, through lifestyle, what they were saying, what their reality was. I was trying to do the same thing they was doing.
How much of that relates to like your real life at the moment? Like, because I know you started, you started selling drugs at a young age, and basically dealing in the street at a really young age. So it's like, how much of that is actually real versus you kind of like, fantasizing about it?
No, none of it was fabricated. It was authentic. That's why I connected with them, because you talk about Scarface and my mind's playing tricks on me, all that shit. Like, I was really out there in real time, like living like that, toting pistols, busting moves, like not sleeping, still trying to, go to school, doing the double life. Like, I had one foot in, one foot out. So it was just like, those was the dudes I connected with, because they was telling my story, like messaging visually, like in the videos, they was telling my story. And I was just like, damn, like those are my mentors from afar. You know what I mean? Like telling my testimony.
But you always felt like I'm gonna elevate.
I was hoping so.
Yeah, but I'm saying you never felt like, because there's people that, like, I've been on the spectrum of like seeing the kid that's like, he liked the street shit. Like, he had to do it, grew up in it, and now he got a chance to get out of it, but he just like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you ever have the moments of like, gee, I like this shit? Like, or was it always like, this is painful, I'm listening to these songs, this is painful, I don't want to have to do this?
I like the process of like the hustle.
Yeah.
And like how I was able to like manipulate like the game, like to make money. But then like the second we start losing dudes, and that's part of the game too. So the process of like losing friends, losing loved ones, having to do shit to people, like it was just like, okay, that's part of it too. And I don't want to make a career out of it or not have a career, somebody take my life because I'm holding. It's just like, I have to like look at this whole landscape of this hustle different and try to find something else to do. And then shit, I was 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", tall as hell.
Yeah,
I was like 6'4" at the time, so it was just like
sneaking shit.
Yeah, it's like I gotta tap into this basketball thing, see what this look like, because that will always be there. But I gotta see what this basketball thing look like. And that's when I really like start applying myself with the basketball shit.
Now, did you play all your life and then it just got serious at a certain point, or you didn't get turned on to basketball?
Always
until
pick
later?
up games at like the park. You know how it is. You playing and then bust a move, go get up. You know what I'm saying? Like bust a little serve here and there, go back to the court. Bust a serve, go back to the court. That was like clockwork all day. South Park, being out there all day. But then it came to a point where, they came through there and shot it up so much I was like, all right, let me just try to do something different and see what this looked like. After like my 12th, 13th time of, getting arrested, doing 18 months, I'm like, all right, shit, it's like recycled behavior. I'm becoming the dudes that I don't want to be. Like, I'm becoming my uncles, so let me just try something different.
What's that like at a young age, recognizing something like that and then actually trying to do something about it?
Yeah, it's tough because you're the only one thinking like that. Like, you thinking different, and different is good. I realize that now. But when you're young, going through that process, it's like different isn't the trend. So
Right.
you look awkward as hell trying to, step out and pivot. And people looking at you crazy. It's like, damn, you gonna pass up on this money? You gonna pass up on, this fame?
All the shit they see.
Yeah, the symbolic recognition that you get in the hood, like all that love, you gonna pass on that. But I'll be crazy to tell you, like I never saw like college, NBA, millions. Like I did not see that shit. I just saw like something different where I could sleep good. I have a peace of mind. When I was locked up doing my 18 months, it was the most peaceful time I ever had in my life.
Yo,
As fucked up as that sound, it was
Mike
the most
Tyson
peaceful
just said
time
the
I've had.
same thing.
Really?
Similar. Yeah, something similar.
It was
He
just like I didn't have to look over my shoulder. Wasn't nobody shooting at me. I didn't have to worry about like trying to do something to somebody. It was just
Peace.
It was just peace. It's like, do your time,
Get your head together.
get your mind right. I think Pac said it best, being alone make you strong. Like, I was just like, all right, I was in that mindset of getting right. So I couldn't be penetrated, like, mentally when I got out. Nobody couldn't throw, like, a smoke screen, and I just pivot back into the streets. My mom moved out off the neighborhood, the South Side. She moved to Midtown, so it was like a whole different dynamic. Cats didn't know me. I was able to just kind of navigate, do my thing, and just, get out, work, play basketball, and stay out the way.
Man, that's beautiful, dog. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that he actually, like I'm sure that comes to every young man's mind at a certain point, especially when you're younger, like you're 19, 20, like what the fuck am I doing, or am I doing the right thing? But the fact that he actually like stepped up to the plate, like, yo, I'm becoming a part of this cycle, like I need to break it. And like I need to take these type of steps just to break it.
Yeah, no, that's huge. See, with me, I was more so like when I saw that same like trap, so to speak, that my guys is getting locked up, but this is happening. Like, I always sat back and looked at that shit, even when my uncles would do stupid shit. If I saw Ahrii do stupid shit, anybody, like, I always looked at that shit like, they just did that for me. It's like we both just got locked up.
Yeah.
Like, we both just got that smidge, and I'm just not going, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's damn near like spitting in his face if this nigga go in there like, bro, I just touched that stove. It's hot. Don't touch it. It's like, nigga, what, I'm calling him a liar? Like, I'm gonna go in there and touch this shit? No, like, I'm gonna try and navigate that way. So I feel what you were saying, like, when you saying I'm looking at people that damn near wasn't even in front of me and saying, inspire me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to listen to all them same raps and be listening to that shit, and I'm like, bro, I don't have none of that shit going on where they talking about they ain't had no pot to piss in. And I'm like, I had friends that was singing the shit, and it was like, bro, you don't even, that don't resonate with you all the way.
No
and
connection.
as you get older, you're able to decipher, like, you know what I'm saying, the parts of the song you resonate with, understanding the bigger picture. But it was like, growing up, a lot of the shit that we had going on, we're looking at it to inspire us, and a lot of it becomes trauma because of what you were saying, where you don't know how to not let somebody penetrate your mind. So when that trauma build back up, it'll just make you snap. It'll make you do something,
Real.
you know what I'm saying, that you don't want to do. And 9 times out of 10, it's like, I wish we had podcasts back then for like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we had podcasts where you could hear somebody, like one of your favorite people, give it to you straight, like, oh no, G. Like if I knew growing up, oh, man, Caron Butler, yeah, man, he had sold drugs before. Ooh, you know what I'm saying? That kid that has that double life, that he's hiding it from everybody, but he thinking, man, my life is finna go so wrong. I'm over here selling drugs. Like, what am I doing? Like, But it's like if he hear your story, now he like, oh,
Yeah.
he had to do the same. Like I don't feel like such a sore thumb.
It's platforms like this and you know, that people feel humble enough to put their guard down and start talking and just letting it out. You know what I mean? Like unraveling and just it's like saying this is what it is.
Mhm.
Like before and still early on in the podcast game, people wasn't like telling their truths and their realities.
No,
and
it's a PR run.
Yeah, it was PR run. It's people do a lot of shit for clickbait, stuff like that. But it's just like I think the most flattering thing you can do we had made bread, we had did all this shit. It's like, what is your legacy gonna be? You know what I mean? Not just in the sports world, because you win a championship, whatever the case may be, you get that time. But the roar of the crowd gonna be for somebody else at some point. So it's like, how do I leave like a huge impact? And it's just by like information. It's like just empowering other folks. And then I mean that like sincerely, like this telling your testimony, telling your story, like and giving back in that way. Like I'm telling you, somebody's gonna listen to this podcast and be like, damn, that's me. Or like Iman was saying, like, I connect with that. Like I'm gonna be different from what I just heard. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a fucking unicorn out here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Can you touch on how did you avoid 10 to 15 years?
Yeah, we heard about that little story.
It was so crazy because
my bad if we got you snitching on you.
No, you straight.
Stop
It was
snitching.
No, he
it's
just
out-
said he wants to be vulnerable.
No,
he gonna
it's,
come.
it's
like,
out there. It's out there.
Right.
It's documented.
Right, public record.
I was in a raid in 96, 97. And it was at my house. I was still in high school. I broke my hand and I just got a cast put on the day before and I wasn't feeling right. They gave me like some medication. I was just like off. So I ended up not going to school. And, I was just fucked up that whole morning. By 11 o'clock, boom, boom, like getting hit. And I jumped up and I looked out the window at the top story and I see the rap van, like the big ass police vans and all this shit. And I see like lights everywhere. I'm like, oh shit, okay. It's them. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was making sure it wasn't nobody else, hitting the door like that. I thought somebody else was coming in, but it was them. So I was like, okay. I laid back down, act like I was asleep. And they got in. I could hear like them scrambling and running all downstairs. But the way that the house was made is initially when you come in the house, you don't know it's upstairs because the stairs is like on the back side of the door and it opens like this outward. So eventually they was like, oh shit, you gotta go upstairs. And I heard them coming up. I'm just laying there, hit me with the butt of I don't know they had some big shit on them. It was the ATF. And they hit me with the butt of the gun, got up, handcuffed, searching the house. They said it was a drug sale or a transaction that happened that morning, which is fraudulent because I was the only person in the house and I wasn't hustling that day.
Right.
So it was so fraudulent. But it was a legal search.
Wrong day, guys.
Wrong day.
Oh my God, right man, wrong day.
Yeah, illegal search off top. But they took me downstairs and handcuffed me and they went outside to the garage and they found, I think, a little bit under 2 ounces of cocaine. And I'm just sitting in the chair. They was like, bingo, we got it. They come back inside the house and, all the ATF officers start taking off their masks and shit. And I'm just looking like, damn, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like I literally just got off papers 25, 30 days ago. And with my priors, I was facing, I think 10 to 15, like off top, just with the priors. And I never seen no shit like this before in my life. Like, and y'all know, you get caught with something, whether you in the car, everybody getting charged with it. That's just how it is in our community. But it was this one officer that came from the side that was just like having a conversation, and I heard all the like the back and forth, and the shit just didn't sound right, but it sounded favorable for me. But it didn't sound right, you know.
Right,
and,
right.
It was like unhandcuff him. Like, we're not charging him with that. I was like, damn, that's awkward. And the guy came up to me. His name was Sergeant Rick Geller, and he was just like, looked at my hands. I had like little burnt marks and shit on it. He was just like, you work? I said, yeah, I work at Burger King. He was like, okay. Was you selling drugs today? Nah, I was honest. Not today. He was like, all right, I'm gonna let you go. Without the description of the individual don't fit you. If you turn me into a liar, I'm gonna charge you with this shit. And I was like, that. And from that moment, I really was on the straight and narrow from that. Like, I was just like, I gotta get, like, it went from like playing basketball, like trying to do the right thing, to like, I'm about to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like, cause I can go. So it's like, I'm one of the top players in the country at the time. I only went to like a couple AAU tournaments. I had like Nike on my side. I was like, I gotta go. Like, somebody get me the fuck out of here.
Man. So how much better do you think you would have been if you was just straight narrow hooping the whole time?
See, that's the thing. Like, I felt like I cheated myself.
Real talk,
out of the
that's what I'm
process
hearing. I'm like,
for
bro,
years.
you was Rose Hill.
That's what it was. It was just raw though. But like, the same things
that's your advantage too.
That the streets was my advantage. Like, it made me raw. The
Right.
shit that I was seeing in real time made me
That's
what
why
I
you
was
should.
on
You was
the court.
living the life of a 30-year-old man at
Facts.
11. So you was drafted in 2002, right?
No
So with the players you were drafted with and your mindset, like, how has your perspective and everything changed, like, as far as basketball? Because I know you're a coach now too. So talk about like that development from player to coach, especially like being a younger player back then to coaching now.
Yeah, I think I had like just a mentality where I can just get my shit off versus anybody. So that's how I attacked the game, like offensive minded. Defensively, you know, I was engaged, you know, just from a pride standpoint. You always want to win your matchup.
Yeah.
But as a coach, it's like you survey the whole game differently. It's like, it's prep, it's schemes. It's like you're looking to enhance everybody, you know, on the roster. You know, everybody need to be an active participant in the process of getting a quality win.
Was it something easy for you to do?
I think it was, because I always been able to like connect and touch folks. You know what I mean? And my messaging always been good. That I felt like I can gas you to like do some crazy shit, or I can gas you to like change your life. You know what I'm saying? So like
That's the streets.
that came from the streets. So like, now I got the gift for gab to just, you know, like empower and encourage you to go get that bag. Like, go help this team win a game. You know what I mean? And you got the credentials to back it. So it's like, all right,
Right,
fuck
they'll
with
listen to you.
But
listen.
it's the delivery too. It's the being able to, you can go in a room where everybody's got a suit on and a tie.
Facts.
And then you could walk right out that room and go in there where everybody got white tees and you feel fine. It's like if you're a young player, I remember coming into the league, we would gravitate, like when we was in, where was that, Israel or Mexico?
With the Israel.
Israel. When we out there in Israel, it's like, you can have older guys that'll be out there like, man, I ain't doing nothing with these young dudes. Like,
Yeah.
y'all good. Or you have those guys that do like you do. We all sit down and eat. And man, you know, you could sort of see it in us that we don't know how to like all the way take up your time. Like, we still looking at it like, nah, that's still dudes. So I don't know if he want me just all of this shit and shit. You know what I'm saying? So you start like trying to, like, you want to ask these little questions, or you want to see, am I doing these things right? And I just think that it's dope that he can do it in all forms. Like, young crowds immediately, like, the moment they say, oh, he could talk our language, like, there's so much more receptive to information. Like, I could listen to him tell me what to do at the end. He'd be like, man, and then he could also say, you know, I played, so I get it. You coming down, you got
I know
all
what you're
this.
thinking.
Exactly. I know you want to get in, you know, coach tripping on you. Like, I know the feeling. Like, somebody that can talk it like that makes that turnover that could make that guy just check out for the
Lose
rest of the game. Yeah. That turnover, he could come right over there. The head coach don't even got to come over there. Hey, Shorty, you straight. That shit happen to me all the time. All right.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
And I let him know, too, that he's
real
straight.
talk, like, yeah, he's super straight, bro.
Yeah.
Like, every player
It's part of it.
Exactly. If he sits down now, it's gonna ruin him.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Gotta
got to
give him that
deal with
rope.
that play. Exactly. Like, if you deal like that, he gonna feel like you don't trust him, and then you got a different type ball player next game.
Facts. Now he really hungry.
Real talk.
Yeah, right. He put the battery in his back.
Real talk. Yeah, let me give y'all a little context. Yeah, the Israel trip. So, what was that? My second year in the league?
You was young.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still
It was
baby.
right after Summer League.
Yeah. So we went to Israel. We had to do some clinics, and we played
We went with NBA Cares and
Omri.
Casper.
Omri Casper. That's what it was.
Shout out to Omri.
But yeah, we went out there with Omri. We did some clinics. We got to do. We did the Dead Sea,
Wailing Wall.
Oh man, that's the prayer wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely some cool stuff. We got to go out there, and you know, our little young ass, we was thinking the whole time, like, bro, like, when was we gonna be in Israel? Like,
That's crazy.
it's just like some of the stuff that you get to do. You sit back as a basketball player, you sit down, and you just be like, bro, when I was in Oak Park, you know what I'm saying? Like, playing every day and running around here with sunflower seeds in my book bag and shit. Like, I'm like, gee, I'm sitting here floating in the sea. I ain't did nothing. Yeah, I'm just laying here. Like, I'm sitting in the middle like that. I couldn't believe it. Dirty as hell when we got out. We took that
Mud
dirty
baths,
ass.
everything.
Yeah, the mud
We was
bath.
dirty as hell.
We did
when
take the
did
mud
it. But,
bath.
man, I'm like, bro, I cannot believe we did that. We going up to the prayer wall. You remember when they was chasing us? All them people started chasing us. I'm like, bro, that's crazy that they in the middle of prayer. They in the middle of feeling like, you know, they need this to have this connection or have this faith or have this energy to go on. And then us as basketball players just wanting to come and see what's going on, see a different culture, see what they dealing with. And for them to stop something holy and run up to us, I was like, oh shit, this shit is
amazing.
Yeah,
was
I'm like,
crazy.
that was a mind blow for me. I'm like, bro, they are sprinting from a prayer wall just to get a glimpse of us and see us. Like, yo, come by the wall. They was like, yeah, come, you put something in there. Like, yeah, to whatever
Yeah, they
your
had
prayer
the,
is. Yeah, they like, come
the
do
prayer
that.
notes.
Man, I'm like, dog, this is insane that fucking basketball, like, bro, that should have take you in. Like, if you a shorty at home, man, basketball, football, tennis, soccer, all these sports, bro, real talk, man, it's crazy to think that whatever ball they use, man, it really could just get you out of somewhere, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was always crazy to me. Like, bro, that is nothing but air and leather, my nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. And the fact that,
Connection.
you know, what you were talking about, when you said you gravitated towards him, like, I did the same shit. When we were there, it was a couple outings. Like, y'all didn't want to go on the early outings.
We
and
didn't
shit,
know where
'cause
they was
everybody
at.
going out. Yeah, that's
The young fellas.
We knew they was at. They was asleep. Yeah, they was asleep. But anything before
we
10
was in the
a.m.
town, man.
Yeah,
We was
anything
in the
before
town.
10 a.m. they weren't a part of it. But you were. Like, he brought his fam down, and I
that's
remember
what I'm saying.
he would be there for breakfast, and then we'd be going
Enjoying life.
going through the itinerary. But he actually was like interested in seeing the city, taking in the sights, in
Don't
like
say he was
experiencing the
actually
culture.
interested. Like, I wasn't interested.
No,
I just missed the
I didn't
early
mean it.
hours.
No, I didn't mean it like that. But I'm just saying there was a difference. Like, clearly, I realized at that point, like, like,
he was definitely
he's
enjoying
and it's
life.
like he's older too, so
Yeah.
it's just like he's not just running through here. It's not so much as just like an experience. It's more like, he's learning, he's doing other shit. So I was like, man, let me get like him. Let me slow down. Yeah. And that was like right before we had seen the Holocaust Museum.
Our tour guide actually had took us through the museum, and I don't know if you recall this, but her mother was actually the one that was
people, right?
one of the 7 or 8 people that was actually part of that whole process. So it was like, oh my.
Yeah.
Like, this going through that history, and at the end she just kind of like dropped that jewel, like,
Cause she do it all the time.
She do it all. Yeah, I was like, oh
Same.
wow, that was a
Yeah.
dope experience. And going on the helicopters. Chris Brown had the
the
concert
little
out
concert
there.
out.
Then we went to the gym. We got some shots up
Mhm.
together. Like
Yeah,
it was
we got
just
to play one-on-one.
Yeah, it was
This shit
connection,
dope.
man.
Yeah,
It was
it was
definitely
dope.
was.
Shout out to Omri Caspi, man.
Yeah,
My boy.
man.
Boy, he put together a hell of a trip. We ain't go back next year. NBA ain't care that goddamn much. But I tell you what, Omri, you all right with me, boy. You all right with me, boy. You put together something
Big
like
flame.
that. Oh, my mama, big
flame.
stupid flame, boy.
No, fuck unlimited French fries.
Unlimited
I don't know
French
why.
fries,
Everywhere we
gold
went,
toothbrush.
right. Everywhere we went, sweets and unlimited French fries.
Oh man, we
But,
gonna switch up the buck.
Yeah, we have to. We have to.
Favorite early moments of your career, like wow moments where you was like, I'm here.
My first bucket, because the NBA game, like changed so much from a physicality standpoint. Back
See,
in
he got
02.
to get it in, dog.
Yeah, it was the hand checking was still there. You know what I mean?
I ain't gonna lie, it'd have been rough for y'all if they let me hand check.
It was tough, dog. I'm telling you, it was like
real tough. They was,
And they didn't have a zone yet.
but they
right?
was
Nah,
cool
no
with the
zone.
smacking hands. Like I
you
love
can
that.
hit it off, but you could hold for the one count. You had the arm bar, like you could do that. You could ride a defender,
Yeah.
an offensive player rather. But my first bucket, I was just like, okay, what is this gonna look like? Because summer league, dudes going on 40, 50%. They ain't doing nothing heavy, so that wasn't a real test. But we played our first game, I think, versus the Orlando Magic, and the shot came off. It was my first 2 points in the league, and I just like knifed down. I did like a slot cut, took off, caught a dunk, and then it's like all that shit, like the jitters, the everything was just gone. It was just like, all right, I saw that thing go in.
Here.
I'm here.
For sure.
Like crowd went crazy.
For sure.
And afterwards, I was talking to my queen. I was like, baby, we straight. Like, I'm about to wreck shot. Like, because it started off how it's supposed to. It wasn't a funky start. Like I shot a high percentage. It was just like, we good.
Clean.
Yeah.
Clean.
We're gonna be around for a minute.
Yeah. I know that vibe. I still remember my first bucket. Pro hop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got that broken plate, driving it. It was against Boston. And
Didn't you get hurt?
I got hurt sometime, yeah. But
Like
wasn't
right
my
after
first.
that, right?
No, it wasn't after that. It was like second quarter, some shit like that. My first bucket was in the first quarter. I was
Quick.
hot still. Hell yeah. I
It
come
was
in,
quick.
I was finna pass it, and I did a pro hop rondo, like slapped my arm trying to go for a strip. I laid it up. Gee, I'm like, damn, well, my first bucket would be a goddamn L1.
But didn't it go off the glass?
Huh?
When you laid it up, didn't it go off the glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a layup.
But I'm saying it. I think you went up the middle and it went off the
No,
glass.
I remember I had the pro hop and bring it over to my right hand. His long arm ass just
Rondo?
slapped. Hell yeah. I'm like, this motherfucker arm so long.
Oh, I learned a lot that game. Remember, I
I had
told
to
you.
move the ball all the way over here, dog. After a pro hop, I put the ball
That was
all
a
the way over here. He still swiped at that shit.
That game gave me confidence in him because I was just like, yo, I'm seeing everybody else's games. And I was just like, damn, like I seen Kevin Garnett and I'm just like, he got to deal with that. And then I seen Rondo. Like I had never seen before that game somebody pick up the basketball.
Oh, man. when
Palm
he did that
it,
shit and
but
called
he
the
was
play.
palming it and calling the play.
Mm.
So he only really
Took
had
3 fingers
three or
on
four
it.
fingers on the ball.
You know when he do that.
Yeah.
He was like, hey,
but
go.
he was pointing.
He's like, go through. But it was like how he did it. I'm like, nigga,
'Cause I-
this-
yeah.
Big hand.
You see, but you see people palm the ball all the time.
But it's
the
like
fact
they
that
like-
he was,
when people palm the ball, it's like press it in. Like,
yeah, like he not struggling.
I got
he
it.
just swinging it around.
Like, oh,
He-
that's different.
yeah.
They
And it's
tossed
just
him the ball out the inbound and he snatched it out there. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, that's crazy, my
it
G.
just
Like,
it gives you a different idea.
yeah, it make you
of-
back the fuck up off his handle. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want none of that. That man could pick that up and palm that at any time.
That
Put
shit.
back
It
in.
really made
And he
me
did that
reevaluate.
intentionally too, just for you to think
Right.
that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
a
know.
game within
Hey,
a game
dog, I ain't gonna
always.
lie, though. When you did that, bro, you called the plays with them 2 fingers up there.
I was scared.
Yeah, I ain't know what to do
That's what I'm
with you.
saying.
I ain't
It's like,
gonna lie,
what's-
dog.
I was
ain't
really
gonna lie.
reevaluating talent at that point.
That's a
'Cause I'm just
different
like,
type of
what is-
pass.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you work on that? Do you just wake up and you can do that?
I
Or-
always knew he was going to be good because I watch all the newcomers that come in the game, but I always knew he was going to be good from the jump because whenever you play that position, You got to guard 2, 3, sometimes even the 4. You switching, or you're doing the 14, switching 1 through 4. It's like he was able to guard without fouling multiple positions. Might have been before your time.
And you know what it is though, and I think that young guys, I preach it all the time. A lot of this shit is just being a fan of basketball. Like, before certain games, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But if I watch enough basketball on you, I start seeing he doing this. He likes doing that.
A pattern?
Yeah, just period. You just start picking up on who a motherfucker is.
KYP.
Like, yeah, know your personnel for sure. Like, you gotta know, and you gotta know him so well, like, oh, at the end of the game, he wanna defer to his buddy. He don't even really want to smoke. Because you gotta play the game within the game too, where you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta have some mind control. You might already be hot.
Quick.
You might already be cooking our ass. So I need to know how to play the game within the game.
Real. You 100%.
Is that a hard foul?
All that. Yeah, that hard foul where you start feeling like, damn, I don't want to go in there no more. Like, yo, flagrant. That's crazy. You
got to make them think.
Yeah, but that's an old school style. I think I miss that too, that you can't do the hard foul no more. You can hard foul, your coach be looking at you like, that's a free throw and the ball. What you doing?
All in the air, running through somebody.
Yeah.
All that.
I remember
we were coached to do that. Like,
run through the ball.
Not run through the ball, but like if somebody defending you a certain way and you can't deal with it, like give him one good, run him over. Yeah, like run him clean over. He gonna think of, just like you said.
Don't argue with the ref. Just
right, and then just like you got that one, and they gonna think about it the next time.
Now they be review. That was intentional. He had malicious intent.
Be like, I didn't.
They throw you clean out. Yeah, they throw you clean out now.
Real talk. They check the replay to see if your eyes was on him before you turned and shit. I'm like, bro, y'all going too hard.
Shit changed. It's changed.
Think about it. It's going to actually get even worse, because there's more money on the floor.
Yeah.
So there's like insurance policies got to protect, everything under the umbrella of insurance. They got to protect the players.
Over your career, man, you played with some of the best in the game. You was traded for Shaq to the Lakers. What stood out to you most about playing with Kobe?
I mean, all the stuff we talking about. You talk about disposition, mentality. When I went to Miami, the godfather of the game, Pat Riley, always talked to me about
smooth Pat.
Yeah, the disposition, being consistent, the hard work, your work ethic, all that stuff. And then you go to Los Angeles and you see Kobe, like he literally at the podium while we get traded. I know my wife remember this. We get out there and he signs for $133, $134 million. And the second he signed the contract, he turned to the right, like, hey, motherfucker, let's black out. Like, you ready to black out? And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like he just signed for 135, and he like,
I'd been thinking drugs.
He's like, let's black out. And that was his workouts that they call blackouts. And I was just like, okay, dope. Like, when we doing that? He was like, tomorrow, 7 a.m., black the fuck out. Like, we about to black out. I was like, oh shit. So I was like,
he said, oh shit.
I was like, I just came here for a press conference.
Real
I had
talk.
a suit. Like, I'm.
He's not even prepared.
I'm not. All right, fuck it. Okay, let me get right. I'll be here. And end up going to work out, and it was like the reps of 7 spots, I'm sorry, where you're doing, 20 makes, you go out, 20, 20, 20, 20, go around, go back, more game, speed, and then you start working on the counters, and you work your way out to the perimeter. Then you got 2 guys that come on. Now they're defending, like they're the defensive rotation. And then you go through that whole shit for like 90 minutes to 2 hours, and then you lift weights, and we done. Damn, ooh. I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah, we come back at 6. It's like, all right, 6 a.m. He's like, no, 6 p.m., get something to eat, come back, we do this shit again. We get this shit in again. I was like, damn.
I noticed.
I was like, that's different.
Yo, it be his eyes when he say it.
Yeah, but he was like, no smirk, no. He like, and at 6 we come back. and do this shit
And
again.
then he go to the next
And
thing
he was
got.
gone. And I was just like shit, we got, okay.
Kobe Bryant.
And what happened when he went back at
He
6?
went back,
Same
did the
thing.
shit again. It's like,
He
all
a
right, see you in the
robot,
morning
bro.
at 6.
He a robot.
And it was just every day, all summer. But I tell you, it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, because like that work ethic that I watched him display and what he instilled in me, it led to me like going to All-Star games and everything because that experience with him and watching film with him, like every plane trip, sitting with him, he chopping it up, looking at film. All right, see the defense, this what, and I'm like, damn, I never looked at the game like that. I'm looking at, he's like, nah, like you got to see it. Like this is the line of defense, this the basket line. They cross it, rotation guy, he's open. You know, you got to work the backside. And I'm like, okay. I'm looking at the game totally different. The shit, like the puzzle and all that shit starting to make sense. And like he just changed me forever, bro. Like he really did. And just like off the court too, with everything I'm doing, like he enhanced me in that capacity too, like from writing to creating stories, everything. So I'm forever grateful for that experience.
We learned a lot from Kobe. That was Kyrie, man. So when I was in Cleveland, anytime Kai felt a little off, he called Kobe and talked with Kobe about shit. But it was raw to like even like hear some of the shit that he would come back with. Cause you know, Kai, of course, because it was coming from Kobe, he like, yo, Bean said, yo, Bean told me we doing good. We just, you know, like, you know, you get jewels from dude while you in the playoffs. It's like, you can't get it no better. But you would hear these things from Kobe, and it was good to know like this dude is doing these workouts and doing all this, and he's still a fan of the game.
Huge.
Like, he's still watching every game because he needs to know if this person is on a hot streak, if this team is doing good, if they're playing great basketball. Like I remember him being on the phone one day and saying that he was only watching, I believe he was like only watching Memphis because he was like, that's who he's gonna have to deal with. Like yeah, I'm just watching Memphis. Like I'm only following them right now because he's looking at how it's gonna line up in the playoffs and shit. And I'm just like, bro, that's insane.
But don't think that he's watching just like as a fan. Like he was watching the game. He wanted to know their BOBs, their ATOs.
He wanted to know every way he finna
late
kill
game
y'all.
situations. Like he knew
your tendencies,
everything.
If you trying to get a stop or you just there, like to put your hand up, like he'll tell you that. Like he's not trying to stop you. He's just trying to contest. But he'll say that to you, like, don't worry, just shoot it. Like he's just trying to contest. He's not trying to stop you. You'll be like, bro, what the fuck is you talking about? That man is dead in your face. He's like, yeah, but it's a contest. It's a difference.
Late contest.
Yeah, late contest.
Fuck
like,
it.
Did you ever, taking this type of advice, did you ever like fall back and be like, man, like I'm not capable?
No, never.
That's what I'm thinking.
But some dudes, like he said, like, you know, they know who they are. You ain't got to say no names, but it was like a lot of dudes that said they was like that, or, you know, in our era that was, you know, household names that came to black out, you know, they fell by the wayside because they was just like, this shit is too much. And they was just naturally gifted and talented. And I was that too, but I needed that work. You know what I mean? Like to redefine my game, and he was perfect for me.
Boy, that boy, man, I wouldn't have did
different.
the 430
Yeah,
shit.
and it seemed
430 on the track and all that shit.
He was see, that's what we did in Miami too. You know, with the you know the 10s.
That's
and the
why they do so well though, because if you're in shape at a certain level, like once you're in that super top game shape, it's like, bro, you can coast through. You can teach a motherfucker anything.
Hey, think about if you go, like if you're in optimum condition and you start the preseason where everybody come in like in the best shape. That's half the battle because a lot of people just play themselves into shape. And with the money that's being made now, you can't tell no one like you got to be there. You just like, all right, shit, I'm just trying to manufacture something that works for both of us, like where it's a median. So, you know, we get out ahead of the 8-ball like that, but just by being in shape.
You think it's like a focus thing too? Like you don't have to deal with, you know, somebody trying to make weight or trying to cut their weight or whatever.
Yeah, with us, it's just part of the culture. You know, part of our creed. People know like to come in, be ready. I'm letting you down if I'm not
Right.
right.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Accountability.
Accountability at its finest.
You play for 9 teams. What's the key to learning how to play different roles and becoming a part of either a nucleus or an add-on to a team to get, you know what I'm saying, further the next year?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say what we just talked about, conditioning and stuff like that, but I would say just like know the game. Like you have to know the game. And the first thing, like I've known all my life, how I've been able to survive, 42 years old now, is by reading the room, reading the situation. So if I'm going to any organization, any locker room, I'm like, what's my reality? Define reality. What is it? How do I fit in this puzzle? Or do I fit into this puzzle? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So it's
right.
like, it's just like processing that shit real quick. He's the scorer. Do they need another scorer? Do they like check all the boxes? And then that's how you amplify like who you are on any team or organization.
And you package that when you message that, you give that to your players now?
100%. Because a lot of people come in thinking, I just got to get to my bag. But we got motherfuckers that get to their bag already.
Can do what you do.
Yeah, at elite
High
level.
clip,
So
yeah.
now we need you to like buy into this creed, like defense, effort, energy, 50-50 ball, muscle shit. And then you'll get
Right.
amplified down the line by all the other things that you do.
How do you do that right now? I feel like that's the biggest issue with the league right now. You can't really put much value on yourself for intangibles or anything if at the end of the season you don't have numbers to compare and contrast. There's no room for a contract for you.
Yeah, well, I think if you come to an organization like ours, we led the league in charges, right? So that shit is important to us. We need people to sacrifice things. Sacrifice your body,
I hate
no
that.
defensive rotation, things like that. So it's like, you
Of
might
all
not
that
get
shit.
value somewhere else, but we value you
Yeah.
here for that type shit. Take a guy like Caleb Martin, who was like literally not in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte had waived him. He reached out. Actually, J. Cole reached out, and he was just like, bro, I got a dude. You need
Check him
to
out.
check him out. I was like, have him fly up. We playing pickup. He come, open run, diving on the floor. Wasn't making shots that day, but he was just active, electric. Like, this is a motherfucker that we like, need, and he's part of this culture. Like, he's a mirror image of what we do and what we're all about, what we embody. Long story short, he 20 plus million this summer. So that's like, we're about that shit. If you do the little shit, if you compete at a high level, if you're about winning, where our franchise player, Jimmy Butler, is like that. You don't give a shit about the numbers. All he's trying to do is just win. You know what I mean? And if you're about that and you can amplify and move the needle in that process,
Yeah.
you don't want
I mean,
people all in your
right.
videos, all in it. Come to Miami.
Death, bro.
Come to Miami. Go to the Heat.
Nah, that man. Well, y'all could have came got me. Y'all know I ain't scared to smack a motherfucking
Facts.
shit.
Quick.
Y'all could have came got me anytime y'all.
I didn't want to deal with that.
Are there any players on the Heat roster that you've
Yeah.
helped develop and you got like a special relationship with them now? It's like, you know what I'm saying, one of them situations where it's like, man, I know this was my job, but I'm like really happy that I bonded with this person.
Yeah, you know what? I've connected with everybody from across the board. Jimmy, obviously Kyle, PJ when he was with us, Caleb Martin we just talked about, Bam. From Thanksgiving to whatever holidays we celebrate, and if we celebrate it together, they come to our houses. They it's a real family atmosphere. Like we don't preach the creed and not live by it. You know what I mean? That shit is real. Like we care about all our young kings. You know what I mean? And try to enhance them and empower them.
That's dope.
That is dope.
That's dope.
Back to the teammates. Who are some of your favorite teammates that you played with in your career?
Hands down, Kobe Bryant, Dirk, KD, Gilbert. I think Russ as well, Chris Paul. I had some heads, not just because they're names, but just because they was just great, genuine dudes that like went above and beyond, outside of just the regular teammate shit.
Mm-hmm.
And still do till this day, like checking on you, making sure you're good, whatever the case, checking on the family, all that. Like that
It's
shit
definitely
matters.
surface level teammates, and then
Yeah.
guys that are like really hit your line.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to you after basketball.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Because they could tell, like at practice today, something in your life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like something in your life was bothering you. Like you was playing hard, like you might have killed, but they could just tell like
Mhm.
something inside of
wasn't
you
right.
is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that family atmosphere you're talking about. Y'all been together for you
Yeah,
know,
after a while, you do spend more time with your
Yeah.
teammates than
Your
your real
fam- yeah.
family. This should be
Yeah.
crazy.
it's like working at any other job. Like
No,
most
it
people do. No, I'm saying most people, like if you work a 9 to 5, like usually 40 hours a week, you can
Damn.
tell shit like that with other people.
Real
like you can
talk.
come in and be like, yeah, he off today.
Right.
Don't matter what he told me. Like you said he was straight, he off today. Like he don't usually do shit like that.
That's
He
real.
don't usually sound like that. So yeah, no, that makes a lot
I
of
ain't
sense.
never had no 9 to 5, guys. Tough.
What?
I ain't never had no 9 to 5 to evaluate somebody's emotions.
I
don't
mean,
think I
technically
could
you
do it.
did. I mean, technically you
I don't
did.
think if I could do it, boy. If we was working at a bank and you caught attitude, I'm like, boy, I don't give no fuck. You go home and handle your shit on your own.
No, you usually no.
We
you
don't know
usually,
goddamn team.
You don't got to you don't got to deal with it, but it's just like you can feel it or you can tell just because you
Yeah.
know how they are. And
Yeah,
you know how they
I'm just
carry
letting you
themselves
know
at
you
work.
ain't the Chris Paul of this 9 to 5 over here, Joe. Don't be calling me after work and shit. You not Chris Paul. You heard the nickname Tough Juice. How'd you get Tough Juice the nickname?
I think it initially started with Coach Eddie Jordan. Just
Mhm.
playing through injuries, playing through all type of shit. You know, remember one time in practice, he was like, "Man, you a tough motherfucker." Like they said you wasn't. Like the staff said you wasn't playing today. I was like, "No, I'm rocking. I'm playing." Like, and I was always like that, whether it was fractured finger, hand,
Take me up.
whatever. I'm like, I'm out there. And might have not been the wisest thing from a value standpoint because, I'm fucking with my capital, but at the same time, it was something that stuck, and I knew it stuck. We was playing the Celtics, jump ball situation, and, KG always talking shit, but he
Mhm.
always connect with the real ones out there. You could come say, like, what up, dog? Like, whatever, but you come up, you're like, Tough Juice, what's up, dog? Like, shit. And I was like, okay, you got the memo. Like, it's a new name alert, surfacing.
shit.
Yeah, so it was just like, all right.
So you wasn't even calling yourself that yet.
Hell no. Like, I think that's
So it was
psychotic.
confirmed. So it was confirmed when Ticket said it.
Yeah, when Ticket, he was like, Tough Juice, what's up? I was like, okay. I was like, fuck it, that's what it is. Yeah, it's out there.
That's
what
hard.
it is. Yeah.
Damn, KG
Named
gave
him.
your name. Yeah, that's
Named him.
fire.
The streets named him.
That's cold as hell.
Yeah.
I loved him for that though, dog. I loved KG for
Energy.
that. Paul Pierce for that.
Energy.
Like, it's like, bro, they gave me that cringy feeling like, I hate you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I hate you. I hate you for the years you played against my team and got off. Like, I hate you for so many. And they felt it and allowed it. Like, invited it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen them outside and they're, you know what I'm saying, super great dudes.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cool thing about everybody in the league.
It's competition.
Off the court, everybody's super cool. Everybody's a family guy. I love that the NBA now lets us bring the kids all back in the back. Like, everybody be bringing their kids in the back and shit. Like, the shit is dope. But it's like that 48 minutes to hate each other is so beautiful.
It's real.
It's so beautiful, bro. Like, we allowed to just say any and everything. Like, sometimes it do spill off the court after a little bit. Yeah, it get crazy. But I think it's cool that all these grown-ass men respect the code in saying, for these 48 minutes, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, you fall on the floor, I'm not helping you up. Get your teammate to help you up. We could do anything like that we want to do in between these lines. And then after the whistle blow and the buzzer go off, we'll go back to being regular. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate your kids.
That's what makes the conversations like so dope now, right?
Mhm.
So I just came from Vegas and, my OG, shout out to Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups, Big Shot and Kmart and all, like passing in the hallways. But the what's ups is different because it's like, what's up, fam? Like, damn, you get the flashback like, damn, we went through so much shit together. Like, I was, taking a charge, trying to guard you, couldn't guard me. It's just like,
Old head
all that,
crazy.
it's just like, damn, like, them conversations be so Yeah, dog.
respect
Yeah.
him.
It's like a different. Let me give you
Right.
5 minutes to pay homage. Let you smell your
Oh, type
roses.
shit.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like that
That's
connection.
how I
That's
feel as
fire.
a fan with certain players. Like I feel like I appreciate more players, especially the older players I grew up watching. I appreciated them way more once they stepped away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kobe, I appreciated Kobe way more once he stepped away.
Yeah, I don't think you really.
It's because I hated. No, it's because you know me. I personally hated Kobe as a
he
fan
actually
because I
was like
didn't.
Mike.
No, that wasn't even that. Like I enjoyed that part of him.
Oh, you
it
talking
was the
about
fact
just
that he was a
whooping us.
Laker. Like I didn't like. I didn't like the Lakers growing up. I
Yeah.
always
Big-time
root
Bulls
against him.
guy.
Yeah, so I always root against him, and he was one of those guys who.
Yeah.
He don't care.
Yeah, and he doesn't go home. That's another thing I've seen. Kobe was one of the only players who
yeah.
just. You can't just send him home. Like it's gonna take an overtime. It's gonna take a 50-point game.
He gonna
It's
hit
gonna
the
take a
last
whole-
25
yeah.
points for his
And he
team
gonna turn
in
it
the corner.
up. Yeah, like he's not just gonna
ain't
turn
never
around and
over.
get-
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
and then he gonna give you this if he really in trouble, and it's gonna bother you because he's like, that's what Mike
yeah,
does that.
Yeah.
That's why I real life realized that's why I used to hate Cole. I hated that he was actually being like Mike.
Yeah.
We all grew up trying to
he
do
wasn't
it.
being like him. He was. That's like you.
That's
you
what I'm
him.
saying.
Yeah,
Mirror
you
image.
him.
Like
Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
like we
You
wanna hit the shot over 3 people with the buzzer going off, falling back with the foot, and then do that. We want to do that, but nobody actually got to do it.
Him, Allen Iverson, Kevin Garnett. Like I really respected all of those guys once they stepped away, just because you don't see that anymore. And even if you see something similar to it, they try to tone it down. Like there's nobody who's gonna come in and talk the way Kevin Garnett talked to players. Like Draymond Green, yeah, but no. Because it's just like, he
It's just not the same cloth.
that's what I mean. It's just
But
it's not
it
the
actually
same at
is
all.
the same cloth. It's just not.
No.
I don't know. It's just
because they're not the same player and all that. So it's just
Ticket
to
was
me,
just
it's
a little
different weight.
different.
Yeah, it's a different weight to it.
Ticket
like-
also was a goddamn avatar. 7'1".
Yeah.
Handling the
Yeah.
ball.
So
Yeah.
cold. He don't get talked about enough.
You don't think so?
Nah, he don't get talked about enough.
Because
was
he
just
didn't
different.
do enough. He was very true to self.
Yeah.
I think Ticket could have. I bet there's probably a story that he could have been a bigger name and probably just. I take it as he just didn't want to do it. Like as far as like off the court and trying to be all nice, like he literally like I feel like he wanted to be a demon and play basketball the way he knew he played it and stay out the way. Like I love players that do that.
Yeah.
Like where I could tell, like, yeah, he could say the right things and sign a couple of more deals, but they just be like, nah, I ain't doing that.
They're top 5 talent. Like ever.
I just want to hoop.
KG?
Ever. I could face you up. I could rebound. I
What
could
can
push
he
you
not
on the
do?
floor. I
I'm
had
not saying
heart.
he
I had
not-
it. Like
not
ever.
either,
He
but-
could defend.
Guard 1 through 5.
Bro, ever.
He could bring the ball up.
Think about it. He didn't have no weak. Like, what was his weakness?
Top 5.
What was his weakness?
Yeah, I won.
I'm saying, like, he
Right
could
hand,
shoot,
left hand, jump
right,
hook,
face up,
dunk,
dog,
don't like you.
coast to coast.
Man,
What couldn't he do at 7 foot?
He a Tim Duncan guy, so you can't do
I'm big
this.
Tim Duncan.
Man,
That's all he thinking is
That's
top
really-
5. He
I'm
thinking
like,
top
man.
5. He like, but where does if
I'm
you
just
got
saying,
KG
talent,
and
yeah,
Tim Duncan?
Top 5 talent ever.
Now he got Mike. He's looking at his slots.
Yo, you just
You fucking
Yeah,
his
'cause
slots
then I'm
up.
just like Larry Bird, Michael
yeah,
Jordan.
he panicking.
what? Shit.
Right, like Moses Malone. I'm just like, I don't know.
That's the
He's
next
thinking
tier.
of all his favorite
That's the
guys.
next tier. That's the next
That's what
tier.
I'm saying. Right, you know where I'm going. So
He's
I'm
thinking
just
of
like,
all
I know where
his
you're going.
guys,
That's
like,
next tier.
yeah,
damn,
my
man.
window just getting smaller and
Yeah.
smaller. So I'm
Shit
just
just
like,
popped up.
Not having a father figure in your early childhood. What are some of the biggest lessons you like to instill in your children?
Well, one, having that boy taught me a lot about all the things that I did want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like something as simple as just fucking waking up and having breakfast. Just sitting at the table, reading the back of a cereal box or something, and just like the joy that you get from those conversations, right? So my main thing is just having a different voice in the house. Like I thought that was extremely important. Having that connection. I got 4 girls, 1 son. So my wife is always like, she's there, like hands-on every day. And I try to be there, like for those moments as much as possible. Like wake up before they go to school, breakfast. Like I gotta be there. I gotta like be part of that energy. And then it's like making sure that I experience things with them, not just give them financial gifts and things like that, but like make sure that I'm an active participant in the experiences, whether it's fucking riding a bike, just, anything, like being at the beach. And I do get distracted because I got a lot of shit going on, but it's just like at the same time, I just try to be a part of all those moments. And I think that's paramount for any man.
I like that you said that too, like not just being there in the physical, but like being there. Like I'm not sitting here on my phone or doing this. Like if I'm only here for 30 minutes, I'm staring in their eyes and giving them what they need for that 30 minutes before I gotta go. Like I used to do the same shit where I felt like my wife had so much time when I would leave. Like if I gotta do this or do that, she's got this time where, I would damn near be frustrated because I'm like, you don't see what she's doing? Like she looking like, boy, that girl been doing that all day for the last week and a half. You just been on
just
the
caught
road.
on to that?
Yeah, like she like, you just got off the road. She been doing that for a week. I got videos of it, you know what I'm saying, in different outfits. And I'm sitting there like, wow, like, wow, she just did it. Like, look, she did it again. And just being in those, even for her though, it was fun for her to see that because she was just like, damn, I be forgetting that you got to work or do this, and your mind might not, you might be there getting dressed, but you thinking about walking out the door. And it's like, especially when the kids are able to start communicating, it's like, it's cool to just, have those moments. Especially, like, I love now, Junior take my phone, just take it. Like, go put it somewhere. Root too. Yeah, just, you know what I'm saying? Just because they want that so bad. And I feel like it got to be testament to, like you were saying, like, when we're around and you give them that time. Like now, it's like they holding you accountable. Like, no, don't act like you can't do it.
This what it is.
I know you could do it.
Yeah.
Like this how I get down now. And that feels good because that adds a layer to you as a man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just knowing like it's certain things that I got to do. I got to look them in the eyes because, you know what I'm saying? They're holding me accountable. They on my ass about it. This ain't even the outside world or caring about judgment. This is about what they need now. You know what I'm saying?
It's good just to have them wanting you around too.
Yeah. Yes.
That's strong.
They just want to know you in the next room.
Yep.
Just want to know.
My daddy right there.
Real talk.
I
Real
don't
talk.
need him. Right? I don't need him. I
But
don't want him coming over here.
Or they do the breath questions.
They didn't want nothing.
Yeah, just like you be like, what?
Just wanted to make sure you ain't leave. Just wanted to make sure you still
Dad,
here.
did you know it's still light outside?
Yeah.
You're like, what?
What? Yeah, like, bro, I'm watching the game, bro. I told y'all 3 times I'm watching the game.
That's what you tell him. Like, just come sit down.
Yeah,
Just
come on.
Just
Come on,
sit down.
son.
Because
Come
clearly
on.
you
You need a
just wanna
friend.
be
Come on.
Is that something now that you like? Because I know you had your first child at 13.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like,
Damn, your first child was at 13?
Yeah. And I thought I was having some shit. I was going through it at 19. He went through it at 13. Like, how is it different raising all your?
She is a couple years older than me.
Oh, she was older. Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Still
finna
tough.
say. No, that's still tough juice.
Yeah. But what? Right? Literally. But how is it different, like, raising a child at 13 versus, your other kids where you were kind of had that preparation?
That nigga just left that out, didn't he?
Yeah. I didn't even
just left that out, though.
I didn't even
know how.
I didn't even know how to
balance
it. Like raise a child. Like I was just trial and error. You know what I mean? Like, but I knew that one, the thing that I had to do, and it was a must, and it was like something that plagued like our community for years. It's just like owning up and claiming like this is my child.
Mm-hmm.
So I identified that immediately, even before like blood tests, everything. Like I was like, this is my child. Like this is my family. This is this us. This our bloodline. And then learning how to provide for her and be the example. That was the next step. So like going through all the correctional shit, going through that whole process, that was just like draining. But it taught me a lot about myself. And then also, most importantly, that's why I really pivoted. Not only because I had a gift, but I had to provide for my daughter. So that was like the biggest thing.
Beautiful. It should line you up, though.
Yeah.
We like to ask
Yeah.
all our guests, what are you working on or working toward improving in your personal life?
That every day, just people always say like being a better me or being a better version of me, and I think that is exactly what I'm working on. Like from a coaching aspect, everyone's why is different. So learning how to like talk to you the same way I would talk to someone that don't come from our background and our situations, and learning how to have that same dynamic and that connection. Definitely a work in progress. But I love that process of it. You know, still being a better father, being a better husband, working on your communication, and just making sure that, you know, the ultimate goal is, you know, having your legacy turn out exactly the way you want. You know, like they always say, tell God your plans and watch him laugh. I think Hove had said that the other day, and I was just like watching it, and I was like, ain't that the truth? Because, you know, we have this thing that we want to do is plan out and manufacture this life or whatever, but things don't ever go the way that you expect them to.
Yeah,
you know, so just, you know, this constantly every day just trying to be a better version of myself. I think that sums it up.
I see. Right now, I'm doing the same thing with that communication thing. I feel like a lot of times I fall victim to like, I have a certain way that I communicate, and it'd be like, I get frustrated quick if somebody can't get with it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, even though I know, like, I can adjust, but I just be like, I don't feel like adjusting no more. Like, I'm sick of adjusting. It's always got to be me to adjust. And like, I had to slow myself down and start realizing, like, gee, that's kind of like your thing, bro. Like, they can't do that. Like, if you can understand or deliver a message or bridge a gap, just do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just working on like being more conscious of it and saying, you know, I'm gonna use as many tools as I can to keep trying to bridge gaps and keep trying to make a room that seems a little everybody on their own wall, like just start making them mingle a little bit more just because I do know how to do it. It's just sometimes I just be like, ugh, like y'all annoying me. You know what I'm saying? Type of vibe, but it's like, it really don't have to be like that. Sometimes it really be a small disconnect, and I can see exactly what the disconnect is that could just break the, you know, ease everything. Break the ice.
Don't nobody want to address it.
And I really know how to do it, but I'll let it be uncomfortable and be a dickhead sometimes.
Well,
that's my key thing I want to do.
Goes to what you're saying, like communication. Like people say that all the time. Like, you know, especially in like relationships and women, they're like, "Yo, we need to communicate better," and da da da. But now I'm realizing that means something different to everybody.
Yes.
Like communicating, like in my mind, that means you telling me everything you want me to know, and I tell you everything I think I want you to know, and then we meet in the middle after we know.
But for women, it's like, no, I meant my love language. I want flowers.
Right. Even though I told you I didn't want them, I still want them. Or even though I told you to shut the hell up, you need to tell me something nice. You need to reassure me that this is going right.
I told you to shut up and get out the house, but you weren't supposed to actually leave.
Don't leave.
Right, don't leave. Right, what the fuck am I going to do?
It's the white man can't jump thing. She said, you're supposed to ask me, do you want water or are you thirsty or whatever? I was like, what? Where did that come from, that conversation?
It be like that though, man. You got it.
But it's so messed up because at 22 years old,
oh yeah, you definitely not getting that correct.
I'm like, what the? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, what the fuck are you?
Like,
what you want? What kind of mind games are these? And why am I being exposed
until
to
your dad or your uncle hit you with the, oh yeah, your auntie, your mama used to do that same thing. Don't worry about it. You be all right.
You be good. Push through.
Yeah, you be all right. You just started. You be all right.
No, but something like that is just, I feel like it's just thankless. Like, you just got to know, like, especially communication. Like, if you think you're communicating well, you got to just be all right with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
like, so if your wife or whoever's like, man, but you still ain't you got to be all right with that and just be like, you know what, you right.
Yeah.
Next time I'm gonna try to do better.
Try and do it.
that's my thing now. Next time I'm gonna be better.
I could try.
Yeah.
I can't promise you, but I could try.
So just be better. That's all. Just be better.
Hey, we go tap in with the fans on social media. Y'all like to ask y'all questions. We're going to give you the answers to your burning questions that you don't get to say to us. All right, what we got today?
Today we got from listener on Twitter @TheRealAaron. Aaron wants to know who's the best basketball player you've seen who didn't make the NBA. That's a good question, Aaron.
Best ball player I've seen that didn't make the league.
Taking a long time here, man.
Yeah, I can't think of somebody that didn't make the league.
Well, who was somebody who was really, really good, who you was just like, man, like, I'm surprised he don't want to be a part of what we doing. Like, who just didn't want to be as good as he actually was, or who stepped away from basketball?
I don't think anybody that just didn't want to do it, but I remember playing with Scotty Hopson, played at Tennessee. Scotty Hop, I believe he's from Kentucky. Hop. Yeah, I want to say he's from Kentucky. I don't know.
It's all right.
But Scotty Hop, I remember playing like pickup in the summer or something with him. After we had played, I saw him at McDonald's and everything. And then we did a couple of the camps. And then I played with him in the summer and we were playing pickup somewhere. And I remember thinking, bro, if I had this man at Georgia Tech with me, bro, I was like, bro, I don't think we'd lose. Like even in times that I felt like he don't feel like, I don't think he knows he's that good. Like, I'm like, bro, I've played with some people, my G. I've really been around some people that I'm like, dog, they do this or they do that really well or they really work their ass off to get this. And I'm like, bro, you just walk in the gym and can do 360s. You can catch every pass I throw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had a soft touch around the rim. I'm just like, bro, this is like he's like a coach's dream. 6'8", 6'9". You can guard everything. You light on your feet. I was just like, this dude, I swear I thought he was going to be in the league and just be this. Like, I thought he was going to be DeMar. How DeMar went to Chicago and just turned it up. I figured Scotty Hop would be playing. And then finally, 7th, 8th year in the league, he get traded to a team. Yeah, and they really roll with him. Like, just because, like I said, he had a light attack. He didn't have like behavioral problems or anything. Like, he was clean cut. Like, I just thought he was just gonna go crazy in the league, and it seemed like he never really got put with an opportunity that suited him. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody got drafted. It just didn't seem like his shit went the way it was supposed to go to me. Like, I just always played. I don't know. Like, if you play pickup with him, like, bro, I played pickup with that man for like 5-10 minutes before I was like, gee, I want to take him over here to Tech. Like, I don't know what the fuck they doing with y'all over here at Tech. And he was hooping at Tennessee. Like, they was killing. But it was just like, bro, I need you in the ACC, G. Like, I need you.
Okay, Scotty Hop. What about you, Hopson? What about?
There was a brother by the name of John Gardner, a.k.a. Sugarfoot. Yeah, real talk.
That's fire.
Just lead off with that.
I ain't gonna lie, that's
just
fire.
saying, like, man, this nigga named Sugarfoot.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. If I was Sugarfoot, G, that's cold.
Yeah, he was cold. He had the left, the right, but he got, his vices got the best of him. But he had the talent, like good side, 6'4", 6'5", go left, go right, jumper, athletic. Yeah, he was the dude like in the neighborhood, ended up going up the road, but he was the dude in the neighborhood everybody wanted to play like. Yeah, he had that gift.
Crazy. I remember my dad taking me to Patrick Beverly game. Like, when I was in 8th grade and shit.
What was that in?
He was at Marshall.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm
saying I don't know.
Yeah. I'm finna say, boy, yeah.
That was before my.
Yeah, AP Bev. I was there, boy. The man was out there going crazy. Man
going
was
nuts.
The man was averaging like 30.
Damn.
He was doing the layup. This when we all adopted this shit. I would score the layup and I would be at top of the press. Ball would go through the net. We stood over it. That was P Bev shit.
Damn.
Boy, score that bitch and then stand over the ball.
He was
you
a
be
scorer
nervous.
in high
You be
school.
nervous to come get the ball. But he was hounding you.
Oh no, I know.
He gonna get you a bucket and then he gonna breathe on the nigga taking the ball out. And then when they pass it in, he just take him too.
Like, he right here.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you gonna guard the inbound pass. leave from that, and then guard the man bringing it up, and everybody else just adjust behind him. They just anything he wanted to do.
I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna
he
tell
get
him to
another
stop?
steal and do it again. He gonna stand over the ball again. Like it's uncomfortable though. You get ready to grab the ball, they bumping you and shit. I'm like, bro, that shit. I love Chicago basketball.
I was just gonna say, it's a lot of. We got a
That's
lot
some
of
heads.
players like that, like, who got that similar story.
Like Will Bynum. I wanted Will Bynum, even though he had a great success story. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying
I love
we
Will.
wanted him.
Yeah, I wanted him the way.
Will should be Russell Westbrook right now in my mind.
Type shit.
Like, yeah.
Like that's how we feel about Will Bynum. Like we
he used to get at it.
You feel
So
me?
Yeah, but
athletic.
we saw
The game
we used to
just
see
changed.
him,
The
but we
game
also
just
saw him
changed.
before the internet and all that. So it was he was almost like a legend, and then we were able to go like see him in the summer league.
If he would have had, like, if him and Jamal Crawford had the internet, bro,
Yeah,
for the shit they used to do in the
crazy.
man.
Different.
Taking off.
Branding,
Yeah, right.
huh, branding.
Will Bynum was really like the first dude
He was
who I
that nigga.
seen live. Who I was just like, man, if I didn't see that, then
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
think it
I
was
wouldn't
real.
think it was possible. No, not real. I wouldn't think that's possible. Like he was out here
When he windmilled on nigga, dog, he windmilled on the nigga head because he had to though. It was because he had to. He went baseline. He really brought it down. Like you would thought he was gonna
Yeah.
turn around and do some Mike shit, like throw it up. And he brought it down. The nigga hands came down to try and block it. He put it right back up.
It was like it was like a Spud Webb feel. It was almost like he not gonna make it to the rim, but he makes it to the
his
rim.
little ass gonna
Like,
make it.
yeah, and then he
Different.
dunk on you.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
dunk
mama.
on you.
And walk off like it was shit.
Yeah,
Like,
man. Shout out to the Chicago program.
on my mama.
IIT. All day.
Oh, my
All
mama.
day.
Oh, my mama.
Ronnie Fields.
Yeah, see,
Don't
I ain't
get
never
us started.
to-
Yeah,
I
don't
ain't
get
never
us-
get. To, I
don't
ain't
get
never
us
really
started.
get to like. I had to watch video on.
No, Ronnie Fields was a little too early for us.
Shannon
especially to
Brown.
go
Shannon
see.
Brown has one of the most elite Chicago mixtapes I have ever seen in my life for high school.
Yeah.
Shannon Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he will bless you. Hey, well, I can talk Chicago basketball all day. My bad. Oh yeah, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, you know what? One thing, September 6th, I got a children's book coming out called Shot Clock with HarperCollins. And
Dope.
it's going to be amazing. We talk about core curriculum. We talk about outsiders, all these different books that we grew up reading that's been part of the core curriculum. But I think they're dated, and we're just trying to add like new material, tell stories about lives that, you know, real stories about what's happening in these kids' life and how they fight through adversity, which one of the questions you started off with. So it's going to be powerful. So definitely check it out, Shot Clock.
Shot Clock.
Shot Clock. Get it.
September 6th. Get it.
Read it.
What it's available on what you call it too, the audio thing?
Yeah, Amazon.
You reading it?
Yeah.
It's your voice?
It's not my voice. I
Oh, it's
got
not your
somebody.
voice.
Yeah, I picked out the narrator.
Next time y'all
Why
do
they ain't
something,
let you do it?
Yeah,
Next
you know
time
what?
y'all do something,
It
throw
sound
my name
different.
in the hat,
It
man.
sound different.
Oh,
when
you didn't like it?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We
Yeah.
like that's the thing. I like the person reading their own auto book or
I was gonna
audiobook.
do it with my first book, but it still didn't sound right. I didn't take to it. I think after one chapter, I wear on you. I'm like, all right, you need like a voice that you can just like stay with. You know, like a rapper that you can listen to like a song or two.
I
And
disagree.
just forget they own. Like you talking about the artists, like you could take them and they damn near like background music.
Yeah.
You just leave them on all
Yeah,
day.
but there's certain artists that you can listen to, like,
And
and
you
then
be
there's
like,
some you be like, I can listen to a song or two, then like, all right,
I
he
wanna
got
turn them off.
it's too much.
You feel
Yeah,
like you
you
one of
feel like
those
that?
rappers?
There's certain rappers like that.
So you feel like that's the type of rapper you are? You
Yeah,
just
I
three
like, I
songs.
listened to I was like, damn, I'm done with me.
So this is your own advice.
That's my own advice. Hey, I gotta
Hey,
be
you might
honest.
be the realest ever.
Right, he the real
That might be the realest ever. Oh, my God.
I'm not good enough. They don't say like, man, read your book. I'm not up for this.
He say,
I'm not good enough.
I'm
Yeah,
done with
Oh
I'm done
my
with me.
God, I'm done with me.
You just take the
Crazy.
shit off.
I'm done with me, shorty.
I'm done.
I can't wait to tell y'all I'm done with me. Oh my God, dog. Thank you again,
thanks for
Caron
coming on,
Butler,
man.
brother.
Appreciate you.
Tough juice.